Good day. My topic today is about a new technology challenge of critical thinking. This paper or this topic presents a summary of some of the features of philosophy as a lightning rod or partner or lightning conductor arrests and discharge or paratonnerre in French language against a new technology. Social media case I will present in the next topic, next time, in the context of critical thinking. The proposal contains three parts. First one, thinking and talking philosophy. Second, number two, critical thinking as a tool and a mechanism of facing social media, fake news and false information, etc. Number three, function of reason in our age. As a conclusion, finally, of this paper consists of essential points summarizing how our way of using critical thinking provides us a good manners, examine, distinguish the negative and positive, and also all aspects of illogical, irrational, and finally all kinds of fake news and information that we receive all time. The result of this paper recommends that some new view function of our reason as a power for facing of a new technology in our age. Some words I will tell you. What about the words, essential words in my topics: critical thinking, technology, social media, reason. Introduction. Many people come to philosophy charged by a huge false idea with them. They need to understand the world they get around themselves and kind of a tool that helps them to understand anyway, not to solve problems of everyday life, but most people also continue thinking and looking traditionally. A new philosophical precise our topics and its question have been changed. In fact, everywhere we look now make us philosophers when we ask ourselves the matters of life. We find out in every way or discussion and rejection, for example, to kill an innocent person by a gunman or gunman, what philosophy is charged at our age, discuss, refute, and facing the problem of our world. When I ask how to think philosophically, the safest answer may be making critical thinking skills, problems solving, decision making, and creativity or thinking. This paper concerns only critical skills. My aim in this paper is to first look and read carefully and critically one of famous aspects of a new technology, I mean social media. Second, I would like to present argumentation and evidence that social media, as it is used now, conducted us to losing our capacity to see the truth that philosophy teaches us. Third, keeping in mind the very important criteria that help us inquiry the truth. The paper is organized around two essential points. Explain in brief the role of critical thinking, attitude reflecting social and individual thinking, describe some mechanism of critical thinking applied in social media case. Finally, this paper has some ambitions. It means presenting some new function of our reason beyond the critical thinking. We have first one, critical thinking, and also beyond the critical thinking, the new function of reason in our age, facing new technology. Thinking philosophy today is not have a huge knowledge of philosophical works, which is a sure good way to life, but it will be interested using philosophical thinking as a using philosophical thinking using mechanism for facing life problems. More than the aim of philosophical inquiry is to gain into questions about knowledge, truth, reason, reality, meaning, mind, and value. This paper has mentioned many times the word truth. This is one of the central subjects of philosophy. It is also one of the largest that has been on topics or discussion in its right for thousands of years. Moreover, a huge variety of issues in philosophy related to truth. In this paper, I use the inquiry research of truth only behind all kinds of information that I received from social media. Practically, it means the distinction between true or false. My criteria of accepting any kind of truth consists on the light of a critical thinking another time. Statement of the problem of my paper, the oral dimensions of philosophical thinking, Socratic dialogue. What is Socratic dialogue? A Socratic dialogue is a most popular form of the Socratic method. In this method, participants try to investigate in more or less structured way of truth and the value of their opinions in attempt to respond to the self-consequences or results or questions. The Socratic method is not the art of teaching knowledge philosophical, no, not the art of teaching about philosophy, but makes people in the critical context, I mean examine all things by to point, reason, and its logical argumentation. A mode of question that deeply probes the meaning of justification or logical strengths of a claim position or line of the reasoning Socratic questioning can be carried out in the variety of ways and adapt to many levels of ability and understanding. Now read overview about the map. In modern culture and philosophy, the reaction against the negative aspect of a new technology are multiples. The look on the network of various publications give us a clear idea about the problems of new technology, especially a social media. These websites with its popular users that don't have any kind of critical thinking skills, see, by example, fake news. Method. My method of this paper here. My process of doubt as a first step towards the absolute belief, a big interest of social media in our everyday life. The second way method is presented for supporting my rational argument. The first function of reason, it is eliminating the ambiguous and facing the problem of social media. The last step of the method, what is this, is the belief in the big interest and crucial role of critical thinking as well process for treatment of problem in our everyday life. What is critical thinking? Definition is the ability to look at the problem or issues with a spirit of open-mindedness and analyzing of evaluated it based on the fact or good educated hypothesis. Critical is being flexible enough to suspend oneself towards its issue in order to study all sides to formulate an opinion or evaluation. In other words, critical thinking is the ability also to think clearly and rationality and understanding logical connection between ideas, and someone with critical thinking can understanding the link between thinkers and ideas, determining the importance of and relevance of argument and ideas, recognize, build and appraise arguments, also identify inconsistency and errors in reasoning. So looking what are the errors in our reasoning. Critical thinking helps us to see. Approach problems in a consistent and systematic way. Concept of critical thinking, the term. Now, what is the term? The term of critical thinking as we use it does not mean thinking which is negative or find fault, but rather thinking which evaluate, reasoning, and brings thought and action in line with our evaluations, our best sense of what is true. The ideal of this critical thinking, could be wrongly expressed in the phase of a reasonable person. Finally, critical thinking as a branch of philosophical thinking asks us to put some kind of question like, what is it behind? What is it inside? What is surround? What is around it? What are the reference? What are the source of any information that we receive? Where are the reference or our critical thinking is a powerful and effective reasoning about everything, include our modern technology revolution. Common misconception about critical thinking. Many countries in our world oppose teaching a high order of thinking skills and similar in school or in their media and their public affairs because they think, as we have seen in this paper, the understanding the link between things and idea, and also false and misconception and misunderstanding of critics, the authority for every country don't like teaching critical thinking because they are afraid of critic addressed to their action, to their behavior, to their ideas, etc. Because critical thinking help us to show what are the errors in our everyday life, include the political life. And also false and misconception and misunderstanding of critics. Some people say that critical thinking skills can poisoning the person's mind finally. It's a poison. They think, the popular mentality thinks that critical thinking, maybe it is a kind of poison of our mind. The person and mind finally, ignorance is the greatest enemy of critical thinking. Next time, I will see the case study regarding our topics here concerning critical thinking take case study, address, addressing only about the social media and information and false information that we receive from anywhere, critical thinking help us to examine the false idea and the true ideas concerning the social media that we receive from all time, 24 hours that we receive now regarding our social media. It is a matter, it is our force, it is our mentality. It is not the social media as a tools. It is our mentality that use the social media in the false way. Goodbye.